the beauty about it is that when I'm driving with my family, I'll even show my nephew, my niece, and look, that's what Uncle Tsebo did, you see. So all those type of things, you make an impact to people's lives.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having this nice technology and everything, but we shouldn't forget as South Africa, we are still a developing country and we cannot always leave everybody behind. Civil engineering is about civilization. We design for people and build for people, you see.
Yeah. My good sir.
How you doing?
How are you?
Easy, you?
Oh man, listen,
Awesome,
thank you for
awesome.
the invite.
You're welcome.
This place
you're
is
welcome.
awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, we're back yet again with another installment of Varmkop. It is still your boy Tsebo from there, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Tsebo Koena.
Yeah, correct.
So,
yeah.
how are you?
All good on you, man.
Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Please tell us, where are we? I was trying to locate myself. Where exactly are we today?
Yeah, we're in Bokoni Bophirima, Northwest, Hartebees, and we're here at Eagle Waters Resort, where we're actually celebrating Heritage Day with Stone, and they're collaborating with Leeto Experience, which basically does tourism and stuff.
Cool
so
stuff.
we had to celebrate, and that's why I'm dressed like this.
I see.
Yeah.
I heard people joking, saying you just come from a wedding.
Yeah.
But with all the festivities happening there, mind if I just stay for a second, just take a little walk?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Let's take a walk.
some things that I'd like our audience just to learn about you.
Yeah,
get some more
100%.
insights into what you do on a regular, day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So just to give the people at home like a little bit of like context as to what he does, I guess so you are a civil engineer, right?
Yes, I'm a civil engineer by
Yes.
day, and then I've got also other traits as well.
Yeah.
I'm a business developer, DJ, but today we're going to focus more on civil engineering.
Civil engineering, man of many talents.
Exactly.
Look, man, like, I think when I think about civil engineering,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are the backbone of like the actual infrastructure of the country, how the country is built, the designs and all that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, when you actually create a design, are there any considerations around like natural causes, the natural causes it has on the environment, or natural effects, or the environment in essence? Are there any thoughts put towards that?
Yeah, definitely. When you design, there's certain aspects that you need to consider. And also because there's the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, it all depends on what you're actually designing and what type of project you're trying to do as well, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if there's nature, you actually look at the nature and all of that, and you work with, let's say, your architects.
Yeah.
You also speak to the client. Sometimes your client could be the community.
Yeah.
And you try and see how you can actually combine all of those just to make sure that you get the perfect design for your client.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do consider environment
Yes, sir.
in everything that we do.
Has there been an actual project where you had to, or maybe recently you had to consider the environment around you to ensure that you execute properly for that community maybe?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of projects that I've done.
Yeah.
So when I was in Cape Town starting out, I actually did a lot of audits.
Okay.
So what we did was, for Western Cape government, we had to go around and actually assess all the bridges, culverts and stormwater, that side. We surveyed about 400.
Okay.
And also when you're surveying, you need to consider a couple of things.
Please
I
tell
just
us.
got distracted, sorry, but this
Is
man.
it? Okay, hold up. Whoa. Ish, I know that talk is getting very intense. I know you're enjoying the walk and the discussion, but before everything else, I had to give a big shout out to Leeto Adventures. They're the experts in adventure, wellness, foodies, travel, and because of them, we're in this amazing space. It's very tranquil, bucolic, and meditative space. So to Leeto Adventures, big shout out. Please check them out on all their platforms. Shout out. So, I mean, man, we're in this beautiful space. It's all natural.
Yeah.
And what you see is the nature and the human element, being the construction, blends in together.
Yeah.
So that my question for you is like, is there consideration between nature and man-made aspects into like your designs? Do you consider nature when you design? Yeah.
Yeah, we do consider nature. So you have to always consider your nature. So before every design, you actually need to sit with like other professionals.
Yeah.
So in some cases you have your architects, you have your structural guys, your geotech, who are the guys who actually check if the soil is in good condition.
Yeah.
But before you even actually get to construct,
Yeah.
you have to speak to your environmental scientists
Oh man.
who do EIAs,
Okay.
which is your EIA, I just said that, sorry.
Yeah.
And they just try and make sure that you take in consideration of like what the nature, the animals that are there, the frogs.
Bio, they always say
Yeah.
bio and fauna and bio,
exactly.
yeah.
And the water and the
Yes.
streams and lakes and all of that. For
Yeah.
example, your Gautrains. The reason why they had to change the design was based on frogs.
On frogs?
Yeah. There was
What do you mean?
There were frogs that were like indigenous, so they had to make sure that they
design around that.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
man,
other
that's
things as
interesting.
well. So many projects where
Yeah.
you need to actually consider environment, and that's why we need environmental scientists.
Yeah.
And as civil engineers, we don't work alone. We work with a team of
A
professionals.
team of professionals who consider every
Aspect.
facet of it, or aspect of it.
Exactly.
We were having a little talk a bit earlier on,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the word, I think you said it's surveying.
Yes.
What is surveying?
Well,
Considering the whole conversation we had now on like environment and all that.
there's different types of surveying.
Yeah.
So there's quantity surveying, and there's land surveying. So
Yeah.
quantity surveying is basically being an accountant for projects, basically. So we're designing, let's say, Leeto experience, and they want like a boat port or a boat restaurant, for example. And then you, the architect, civil engineer, structural guys, you do the designs.
Yeah.
The QS will come and actually cost it for you.
QS quality.
Quantity surveyor.
Okay.
Then you get a land surveyor
Yeah.
who actually will tell you about the terrain and the conditions of the soil. Like you look at the terrain, it's not straight.
Yeah.
So your surveyor will come with the equipment and tell you the levels, the heights and whatever.
Yeah.
So that when we design, we actually need to consider those when you put your structure there.
And how embedded would you say is like environmental considerations whenever you design like or create a design for a new building or a new structure?
Look, it's very important because
Yeah.
like even now, we...
Sorry. Where's Tina?
I don't know.
Okay, continue, sorry.
It's cool, bro. You good? So tell me,
Yeah.
so South Africa now is a growing population of people. There's
Yep.
like many like different settlements being established and being founded, right? Or being constructed.
Yeah.
And I can imagine just how many projects you're on as well. Would you say the amount of like projects being greenlit or happening right now affect like inflation rates for housing? Is there a connection between those two? Because real estate is expensive.
Hey, that's out
People
of my
want to buy
field.
houses and houses are expensive.
That's out of my field. That's more guys in property.
Yeah, it's a
Would-
property thing, yeah.
Yeah, so with civils, we mainly like focus on making sure that wherever you're gonna do your structure is ready. Like if it's a house, for example, you need to just make sure the ground is ready for it.
Yeah.
So you check your soil if it's strong enough, and then you get your geotechs to do those tests and everything.
Yeah.
Then us as civil guys will actually have our standards that we need to follow just to make sure that the structural guys, it meets the weight that they need to load onto the ground.
Foundation,
Yeah.
all
So when
that.
it comes to the property side, that's a bit different for me.
I think in all my questions now, you've been mentioning some stakeholders that are involved in executing a project. Please tell me, you mentioned there's a geotechnical
engineer.
Yeah, so let's say, okay, Tsebo, listen, I want to build a structure right here, right now.
Yeah.
Run me through the process, please. Like what happens in that instance?
So if you want to like build a structure, for example, Leeto wants to do their restaurant or boat
Yes.
ports,
Yes.
you need to get your surveyor to come to survey the terrain and everything, to tell you your levels.
Yeah.
And then you also have your geotech, who will
yeah.
do like your test pits and check the stability of the soil, they test the soil, the different densities of the soil and all those other aspects, you know.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that whatever structure you're going to put there
Yeah.
can actually sit and not settle too much.
Okay.
And that's why you find like houses like cracking sometimes.
What is it?
Yeah,
It's because of that.
settlement, yes. So your
Oh.
house settles. Similar to when you're on the
Oh.
beach and you put your feet in, your feet are like settling a little bit. So it's similar to that.
I've got a question on that one.
Yeah.
We had a problem with one of our properties
Yeah,
where the cracks were happening.
yeah.
When does it become a structural issue? Like at what millimeters and how many cracks? Is
Yeah.
it direction, horizontal, vertical? Does it matter? Can you just... Yeah.
just break
it Okay. down.
On that one.
It's out of my scope because I'm more civils, right? But when it comes structural, it's basically when you now start to see the cracks become a bit bigger. So let's say if it's a house, you need to follow the regulations from NHBRC. And then if it's your concrete and all of that, you need to follow your SANS codes and all of that. So they will actually be the ones who come as forensic structural engineers
Yeah.
to actually make sure that the structure, what's wrong with it and everything. Then you sometimes even get your geotechnical specialists
Yes.
who will actually go and check what's actually happening underneath your house.
Yes.
Probably maybe it was like a farmland and the soil is not so stable. And then now you built on top of that but the foundation is not the correct one.
Yeah.
Because you get different types of foundations, right? You get your strip foundation, your piling, which we find a lot like in Durban.
Okay.
Because the soil is a bit
And
loose.
the tropical terrain as well affects that. Yeah.
So if they need some deep piling,
Yes.
just to make sure your structure's standing.
Yes.
So when you get those cracks, sometimes what they do is they actually like pump concrete underneath your foundation,
Yes.
just to lift the house up a little bit, so that those cracks reduce a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Malome mustn't come then just plaster over it.
They need to survey.
You need an engineer to
Engineer.
actually come in who's professional to come and do those assessments.
And then after the settling, what comes thereafter, sir?
So going back to the geotech.
Yes, sir.
So after that you get geotech.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that they make sure they do your test pits, check your soil conditions and all of that.
Yeah.
And then, which is basically soil engineering.
Okay.
And then you get your architect,
Okay.
who will basically design the structure for you if it's a house or it's a hotel and everything.
Yeah.
Then you get the structural engineer, who actually makes sure that the structure stands. And then there's so many aspects. And you also have your quantity surveyor, who does the costing of
Yeah, you
your
said
design.
QS earlier on. You
Yes,
said
QS.
Yes.
You also get your project manager,
All right.
and your contracts manager.
In my mind, I see that guy with the bib and the blueprints.
Yeah,
Is it them?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they come in and actually, your contracts manager makes sure that the contract's in order for
Yeah.
construction. Project manager basically manages the project. I'm just keeping it high level, not
Yeah,
too
yeah.
detailed. Yeah, so there's so many aspects. And then there are
Sure.
times where, for example, you are here in Hatties
Yeah.
and you want to build something in the dam or somewhere like that, right?
Yeah.
That's when you need to try and get your other specialists in, who actually specialize with coastal type of.
Oh.
So you get your coastal engineers and all
there's
of that.
different kinds of engineers.
Yeah,
for different
engineering.
kinds of
Civil engineering is
terrain.
quite broad.
Yeah, sounds
So
very-
within that discipline, you can get about 100 different disciplines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And thank you for that. It's quite extensive.
Yeah.
I like that we're still using different terrains and all that. I want to
Yeah.
now go into, so now we're on land.
Yeah.
I want to go into water.
Okay.
There's water scarcity, like there's a serious water scarcity in the country.
Yeah.
We've seen situations in Cape Town, and we're now going into spaces where we have water shedding,
Correct.
and the likes. Where is civil engineering with regards to kind of considering those kind of issues we have into
Yeah.
designing the infrastructure in the country? Is there a correlation there somewhere?
Okay, I think we first need to start off with maintenance.
Yeah.
Not just only water, but for now I'll talk about water because I spent about 3 years in a wastewater treatment wastewater treatment department,
Yeah.
right? Where we're dealing with wastewater.
Yeah.
And look, when I did the surveys audits at
Okay.
the 3 Joburg water was thing plants,
All right.
the issue was maintenance.
Mm.
And that's what actually messes up our water quality. So there's so many aspects of water, but for me, I think we need to first start with maintenance
Yes.
before we start to go into these new green technologies
Oh, yes.
and all these,
Yes.
Good examples of people doing well with water
Yeah.
is like your Netherlands.
All right. Please tell us.
And Netherlands, if you look at it, they've got a lot of courses for water.
Yeah.
Because they've actually studied water in and out to actually understand how can we meet the best water standards or water quality, But when it comes to water scarcity, there's so many aspects to it, to be honest. And that's why I just want to touch on, if
Yeah.
we're just able to maintain our basic infrastructure that's already
The
existing,
basic infrastructure. Yes.
then we already, starting well to actually make sure that we're actually getting better water quality standards.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a ripple effect.
One then
see.
kind of then
Yeah,
compounds, and it's
yeah,
like a ripple
yeah.
effect over time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for that, man. And now from water, can we go back to another terrain, back to land?
Okay.
Right. So, a lot of what civil engineering is, I just have this thing where I say, like, a lot of how we see society lives in the mind of the artist.
Yeah.
And I believe you guys are artists in some form or the other.
No, definitely we are.
You know what I mean?
We are.
So even down to how you then navigate people, like how you design roads
Yeah.
and like off ramps,
Yeah.
roads in certain places. There's a lot of civil engineering. I can imagine that.
100%. Like the
Please
example
tell me
that you
more.
gave about roads.
Yeah.
You try and make sure that the road is so smooth for the driver. And that's why there are times where you can actually take a bend at 120 because you actually design that for
Or to
people
factor in the
easily-
momentum.
Exactly. So you look at your interchanges, for example.
Yeah.
Have you seen how they intertwine and everything?
Yes. Yes.
But you don't actually reduce the speed that much.
You still maintain.
Exactly.
You see that a lot at like N3. So let's say
Correct.
N12.
Gululi's interchange.
Yeah.
And all that.
You see that a lot. Yeah. M1, Crown
Yeah.
Plaza.
And if,
Yes.
let's say you're driving from Joburg to here in Harties, you actually kind of see the terrain. So you're also moving around the terrain as well. So there is some art to a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that we do when we design.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the art of motion.
Definitely, definitely.
Man, this is
There's
crazy.
a lot of creativity in
Yeah.
it. And there are times when we are designing, to be honest,
Yeah.
what we were taught at varsity is totally different when we get to the workspace. Look, we use like highlighters, pens. We even use sometimes like Lego puzzles and stuff to
Yeah.
try and kind of get like ideas and everything. you know?
Yes.
So there's different ways of actually, let's say,
Laying out the lay
designing.
of the land.
So it is actually art.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And then you actually now put the engineering principles into that little design of yours,
Yes.
like your little small sketches, and you have a structure that actually stands.
You sound like you have like first-hand experience.
Yeah,
Have you
definitely.
ever- is it an assignment or is it like real life action, like you designing one once upon a time?
Yeah,
Can you
look,
tell me more about that?
when I was in Cape Town,
Yeah.
the first department I was in was land infrastructure, and that's
Okay.
why I took a lot about land. And
Yeah.
not so much about water. Water was my weakness. Even in high school, chemistry was my weakness. And that's why when you ask me about water, I was just like, let's keep it simple. I'll go
top
back
line.
to the structure, civil stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But in Cape Town, I was designing
Mm.
some warehouses. And I got to also do 16 on Bree, which is like a mixed-use property in Cape Town.
Yeah, bring Cape Town.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I worked on the stormwater system there, just making sure that the water in the basement is able to be drained out.
Yeah.
So subsoil drainage and all that. And then what else did I get to do? I also surveyed some bridges just to make sure that they're actually intact and everything, and they're in good quality. And then again, I did also waste management.
Oh yes.
So for your Investec here in Sandton, that whole office park.
Yeah, the Investec on Grainston.
Yeah. So as a student, I got an opportunity to actually design the waste management system.
Okay.
How they actually sort their bins, going back to what you're saying about environmental.
Yes, recycling.
Yeah, exactly. So paper,
There's a
one
time with
bin.
civil engineering and recycling as well.
Chief, SDG,
That's great.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay,
Everything that we do has to involve environmental.
Yeah.
We always have to make sure that how does it impact the environment and people. And then designing, I did a couple of designs for roads, small stuff, but I'm looking forward to doing bigger stuff like your Sunroad type of roads.
Yes, sir.
Like we spoke about it, like where the roads
Yeah, the
turn.
roads, you can turn 120.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and the beautiful thing about engineering, right,
Yeah.
the civil engineering, is
Yeah.
that all these designs of the art that we spoke about, you actually get to see them come to life. You know, look, I would have liked to go into investment banking and make a lot of money. But the beauty about it is that when I'm driving with my family, I'll even show my nephew, my niece, and look, that's what Uncle Tsebo did, you see. So all those type of things,
Yeah.
you make an impact to people's lives.
Yes.
And that's
Like
why we
immediate
do civil
change.
engineering, because it's about civilization. We are bettering the standards for people.
Please say that again.
Yeah?
Please say that again. Civil engineering is around civilization. I want you to say it.
Civilization,
Sir.
yeah. So civil engineering is about civilization. We design for people and build for people. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we try and better their standard of living.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can go back to like roads. Before there were like dirt roads.
Sorry, I just got
With
dazed for a
horses?
second there. Like you just,
Oh,
I had like
sorry.
a who are moment right now. Yeah.
So going back to roads, right?
Mm.
We used to have like, let's say for example, your dirt roads.
Yes.
Horses were there. And again, horses are just like, you know, dropping stuff.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah,
Excrement.
littering basically. Yeah. And that was unhygienic.
Yes.
And now roads, we've got like your tar roads, where now we're using cars.
Yes.
So you can get from one place to another quicker.
Yes.
And then with water, we spoke about wastewater treatment. So the way we used to actually flush our toilets was actually the VIP system, your long drops.
Oh yeah, the whole.
Yeah, and that's another issue for South Africa, and not only just South Africa, but
there's
let's
some
say
regions
Africa.
that has that problem.
Yeah,
And schools as well.
exactly,
Thank you, G.
exactly.
And schools as well, yes.
So people started to design systems where you're able to actually now use water by flushing. But just like back in the days, I think it was the Romans or Greek.
All right.
So it's only for like royal people,
Yeah.
where you could actually use a lavatory, sit down, and then there were people at the back actually coming with water and bailing all their stuff away.
Oh, so it was on the ground.
Yeah, so now we've
Why
got
is it
pipes.
VIP?
Exactly. Well, I don't know how they
Little
came.
seat actually.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Yeah.
So now we've got toilets
Yeah.
where we flush. It goes through one system and it goes to a treatment plant where we treat that water so it's actually clean enough so that you can actually put it back into the reservoir.
All right.
Yeah, so it goes into like your Hartebees Dam, for example.
Yes.
And then from here it gets pumps down to another water treatment plant
Yeah.
where we actually make it drinkable.
Oh.
So can you see the standard is actually getting better and better?
It's getting better and better.
Yeah, and then talking about
Yes, sir.
moving water from one place to another.
Yeah.
Probably before, back in the days,
Yeah.
you take a bucket, you collect water there, and you take it to your house and you actually try and use the water. Now using pipes,
Yeah.
using gravity. Again, it's old school. Back in the days, Greek or Romans.
You mentioned Greeks a lot.
They're the real engineers, to be honest. Not only just the Egyptians,
Yes.
but also them as well. So this has been there for a long time and getting better and better.
Yes, sir.
So they use gravity just to make sure that the water flows from one place to another. You see, and now we actually have taps and everything. There's no need for you to actually go.
Yeah, the water, you pull it from the actual
exactly.
apparatus.
And talking about VIP, yes,
please,
the
man.
toilets are not VIP, but again, going back to that, we need
The
to
ones with the
actually-
water is not.
Yeah, and even now, even the long drops, you know, we still
Yeah.
have that here in the villages and stuff.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
You guys mentioned schools as well.
Yeah.
Those are the type of things that we need to focus on. There's nothing wrong with having this nice technology and everything, but we shouldn't forget as South Africa, we are still a developing country and we cannot always leave everybody behind. Similar to electricity, we still need to connect power lines to certain places that are remote, that don't have. Your ESCOMs are doing these micro solar stuff now, you know?
Micro being like a small, small variant.
Yeah. So they just basically set it up here and then it can actually power this area here. You know, so those are the type of things that we need to look into.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot that
Thank
SA
you.
has so much, and that's why I don't feel like I'm ready to go overseas yet.
As yet, yes,
because
yes.
where there's problems, we as engineers, we actually want to go solve them.
So you need problems. Problems
Yeah,
at the
look,
heart
I
of
get
what you
excited
do.
when I see problems. Eh? I get excited when I see problems.
Yeah.
And that's where I see opportunity, because also my background, I studied business at Stellenbosch Business School.
Okay.
And same thing, being an entrepreneur is about finding the problem and finding a solution. Engineering is no
problem.
different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enterprising.
Yeah, so
Very interesting.
bring the two together, and that's why I do
Together.
business development.
Along with civil engineering.
Yeah.
You did say there is a multifaceted
Exactly,
things of things you do.
Yeah.
But you know, I like that you keep mentioning the Greeks. I just get this like very postmodern image of like that civilization.
Yeah.
They had to be futurists to some point, to some extent. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I want to kind of segue to my next question, being there's a lot of talk of smart cities.
Yeah.
Japan, I think, is doing it very well.
Yeah, definitely.
The East, I think, is doing it quite well.
100%.
So I wanted to ask, from a creative concept, right?
Yeah.
How does that creative concept of like smart cities be applied in, let's say Joburg? Let's not take it too far. Let's say Joburg, for example.
From the start.
Look, would you say that's something that's happening, or is a way of fostering the thinking towards that happening?
Look, again, before we get to the smart cities, let's first start by maintaining, right, what we already have, and then we can start incorporating the technology and making our cities smart. But a simple example is like Gautrain.
Yes.
They're already doing some form of smart infrastructure technology in a way, where like literally on your phone, you can check what time is the train going to leave.
Yes.
You catch the bus, and then that bus connects you to the station.
Yes.
So it's integrated transport plan.
Okay.
So you
Dope.
jump literally from your house, you step out. to the
Spatial
street.
data, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just call back to a previous.
Exactly.
Sorry about
So you
that,
step out of your house,
Yes.
There's a bus stop right there. You jump into the bus. Like I mentioned, the app tells you what time the train's gonna leave from Midrand to Pretoria to Sandton. From there, same story, onto the bus to your office place.
Yes.
Those are the type of things that are leading us to, let's say, smart cities.
Yes.
In a small way, all right?
Yes.
Now we need to take it to the township as well, where we need to think of Ostandi, who's there, let's say, for example, in Tembisa, and needs to go all the way to Sandton. How many taxis do they need to take? That's what I'm saying. We're going too far with smart cities. There's nothing wrong with smart cities.
But let's
We can
kinda
still do
augment.
it in your Joburg CBDs, your Cape Towns, and all of that. you know.
Yes.
But now we need to first solve those type of problems. Where how does Ostandi from Tembisa get to Sandton without her taking 4 or 5 taxis, for example, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yes.
but she starts work at 8
Yes.
or 7 o'clock, depending. That's 3 hours wasted.
Mm.
She could have actually used the system similar to the Gautrain, where while she's actually in the bus or the train, she's got a laptop, she's got a tablet, she's reading, she's doing something. You become more productive.
Oh man, I like that.
So that's why I'm saying there's nothing wrong with smart cities, but we
Yes.
need to also look at the smaller things.
The smaller
'cause
things,
like I
yes.
said, we're designing for people, you see. And that's where those type of things come in. For example, in Tshwane,
Yes.
when Ramokgopa was the mayor at that time, he's a civil engineer professionally,
Okay.
you know. And when he was the mayor at that time, he made Tshwane a Wi-Fi hotspot.
free.
Yeah. I think that's good ideas, you see. He was about to implement like drones that were going to actually be monitoring traffic, or if there's an emergency, the drone is actually going there. Now we're talking smart cities.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Those type of things.
But that is the principle, though. I think.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So now, if there's an accident somewhere, the drone is actually going to get there quicker than someone who's actually in a car or a bike, because you need to squeeze through traffic.
Correct.
So now you save someone's life.
Muy quicker.
Exactly. So those are the type of things we need to start thinking about as, let's say, engineers or SA.
I feel like what you're saying as well, like smart cities require smart thinking
100%.
and need to kind of spearhead
Yeah.
smart thinking as well.
And also, you shouldn't forget where we are. Look, Japan's and those guys, they're great. But they know where they started.
Yes.
Talking about toilets again, in 1947 or
Please
so,
go for it.
they actually have a toilet system where they're using seawater to
Yeah.
flush. And also, when they do the number 2, the solids go one side, the liquids go one side. And this was
It's
1947. Yeah, 1947, using seawater.
That is amazing.
So they've already started a long time ago. Yeah.
How does China influence our engineers in South Africa? Because everywhere we go in the world,
Yeah.
China has a thing to play. Yeah. How do
Look,
we get there?
with China, you need to also look at their culture. They probably have like a vision that's like about 100 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
And they start to implement, right? So as South Africa, we have your national development plans, your infrastructure plans and all that stuff. But we need to first like sit down and actually put strategies and actually start implementing, because that document is actually proper.
Yeah.
We've got like good plans, we've got, you know, but the issue is implementation.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
'Cause I
can get
think-
to the China levels,
Yes.
right? And that's why China and your Japans are doing well, because they've got a vision, they've got a plan, they've got a
set
strategy,
timeline.
and they implement, you see. And those are the type of things we need to consider. Yeah.
When you mention those cities with a timeline, right, and also just a vision or mood board of what can or should be,
Yeah.
if you would have something like that in place, I want to again centralize it back to Joburg.
Yeah.
How would you implement more smarter ways of? You made a perfect example about Ostani Diko Tembisa.
Yeah.
Tlamela parliament they say 2,
Yeah,
say 4,
yeah.
ufihla senteni ukena spending 8.
Yeah.
Right? So
Hajiga ukhathetse.
ukhathetse.
Yeah.
So for Joburg, right, if you were to instill or institute any infrastructure that would make life more smart,
Yeah.
smart thinking,
Yeah.
what would you think of? Just maybe just a few ideas.
Township, rather.
I think township.
Okay,
yeah.
let's go. Yeah, let's take it back to
And-
township.
And it's
yeah.
going to be something I'll be doing research soon with. I don't want to mention which institution
That's
yet,
okay.
but I'll be doing some of that. Because in 2018, we actually designed a system for the township
Yeah.
where we kind of like recycle and all that and everything. I don't want to touch too much on
Of course,
it,
of course.
you know?
Not too much IP.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we need to start there when it comes to those simple examples, both handy.
Yes.
You know, even though I live now in Midrand, hey, it's still tough just to get to, for example, certain places. Because like, if you're on the outskirts,
Yes.
for example, yourself, you're further in the south.
Yes, 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 yes.
You know, traveling to the north is going to be a mission
Yeah.
because those type of
Yeah.
systems are not there.
Yes.
But the people who are closer to the train stations,
Yeah.
you know, it's much more easier.
Yes.
So those are the type of things we need to also look at. But township economy, I think we need to do what basically your Sowetos are doing, where we actually have your Maponya malls there. We've got your Vilekasi streets. People want to go there, chill and support local business. And I think once we can start doing that in all these smaller towns, villages, look, that's where the money is. That's where the gold is.
How does civil engineering have a hand in that? I know it's a dumb question, but I want to just get a full scope of how, like, you know, being an engineer helps, I think, alleviate those kind of things and create that kind of experience.
Yeah, so a simple thing is, let's say, we were discussing this at work as well, that if you've got a road here and you create a filling station, already people want to do something around that filling station.
Correct.
You know,
It becomes
those
a
type
hub.
of things.
It
Yeah,
becomes a hub.
and that's why I use that same example of like Vilakazi Street.
Yeah.
They just used that street, but other businesses started to hop on.
Yes.
So it became like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So us as civil engineers or architects and those guys, property developers, those are the type of things we can do. We can actually build stuff that actually attract other businesses to come. And that's why we see infrastructure as an asset,
Yes.
you see. Because if you don't have a road from this place to that place, people won't get to work. If we don't build office parks, people won't have places to work. If we don't build schools, we won't have people studying to become doctors, engineers, and all these other careers.
Yes.
So that's how we can be able to actually establish those type of things, by just creating those small things. Yeah.
Then creates the ripple effect,
Exactly,
which then
exactly.
compounds and benefits more people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a very strong leadership in how you describe or speak of things that are, you know, to your craft.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, like, were there instances where you were perhaps leading a project, and you mentioned one now,
Yeah.
and again, you don't have to give too much detail.
Yeah.
But how do you navigate leadership in your arena?
Well, I'm not yet at the stage where I can lead like big projects.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to. So the one I'm leading is this one where we are now in
Yeah.
Hartpies.
Yeah.
Because through the business development, and that's how I basically got these clients, and I'm developing that.
Yes.
But I'd rather focus on my past experience as leadership, right? Which was me joining SAICI, South African Institution of Civil Engineering.
Yes.
So at CPUT, I was a student chapter member at first, doing
Yes.
social media, taking photos, because I was very curious
Yeah.
to just like listen to engineers, what they actually do and all that, so I can actually learn some stuff.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it wasn't enough what I'm getting at varsity and the library, but I also want to hear it from an actual person, somebody asking me all these
The
questions.
human element to it.
The following year, I became the chairperson for CPUT. So now I'm a shy person. Well, now it doesn't look like it anymore.
Yeah.
And now I'm standing in front of an audience of students. And I'm also a student.
Yeah.
I'm a student, sorry. And I'm trying to give them opportunities
Yeah.
for bursaries and when they're done with their studies to also go work. And that's where leadership started to build up.
Okay.
And then I got invited to be part of the Western Cape committee. Again, I started off with social media. And then from there, they made me the chairperson for the youth,
Yes.
which was just Western Cape. Automatically, it pushed me into national.
Oh.
So now there's 8,000 young engineers I'm taking care of. So now we need to find the problems that they're going through
Yeah.
and
And
you try and
identify
solve
with.
it again,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
From there, a friend of mine, Refile Ludicha, called me. He's like, look, come join the Black Business Council, but the built environment of it. I've seen what you've done at SAICI. Come that side. I get there again, leadership, putting my hand up. I don't know what I can assist here, you know?
Yeah.
From there, I actually became the chairperson for strategy,
Yeah.
stakeholder
Yeah.
engagement as well. And then I was part of the professional committee where you with other engineers, quantity surveyors, construction managers and all
Sure.
those guys. From there, they said, look, man, we like the way you think as a young guy.
Yeah.
We would like you to be part of Council for the Built Environment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the Council for the Built Environment sits basically under Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. So we get the mandate from there. And under that Council for the Built Environment umbrella, it's your built environment professionals.
Yeah.
Your engineers,
Yeah.
which is EXA, Engineering Council of South Africa, your project managers and quantity surveyors and construction managers,
Yeah.
your architects, your landscape surveyors, and the likes, your property fall underneath that umbrella.
Oh.
So leadership slowly just grew on me naturally.
Yes.
You know, and that's basically how leadership started for me, where it was just taking the initiative, putting my hand up, let me say that.
Yes. And not being afraid to.
And not being afraid, or taking the risk of like, look, I know I'm a student, but let me at least take a train.
Just put
to go
yourself
in.
out there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's how I got the opportunity to join the first company I was with, because literally the way we're sitting now, before my interview, I was there with the CEO that time.
Oh, cool,
And
man.
he's like, Chief, just go in there and just say Saisi. And literally that's what I did. Then they asked me, okay, who do you know in this company? This is the interview, you know?
Yeah.
And the guy is like, look, my man, which department do you want to be in? You know? And it made things easier by me taking leadership roles. It opened a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So leadership in that sense, that's how
Yeah,
it
man.
grew.
Is that the, well, this can be off.
Yeah.
Is it the Werksman thing, this program that you're running? What is that?
Oh, so with Worksmans, what we did was that the director, Avi, and co-founder of the company, Kuleko, the company I work for, he met Jennifer, who's from Worksmans or Worksmans attorneys, and had this idea of actually how can we collaborate with the built environment, engineers or construction, and bring litigation, talk about laws and all that stuff, because there's this new climate change bill and other bills coming in that affect ESG, environment, social governance, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how it started to build up. But there's been other events that we've been doing as well.
Yes.
Well, myself personally, outside, through these organizations, your SICs, your Black Business Councils, your, you know, British Council as well, invited me to Durban, where we did a skills gap for the students at DUT. You know, so we've been doing quite a lot.
Quite a lot of stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
If like for like a young student maybe who is studying like civil engineering,
Yeah.
if you were to like maybe give them like a focus or like a concentration of maybe bodies to focus on if they want to put themselves out there, you mentioned quite an extensive list. I don't take that away, but maybe for someone who's still like a novice, still trying to learn, maybe which are the key ones they need to focus on when they're still getting into the game?
Well, I'll start with like, if you're doing civil engineering, go to SICE,
SICE.
South African Institute of Civil Engineering. If you're a QS, go to those volunteer associations.
Sure.
Yeah. And there are student chapters at all these varsities that you go to. From there, you can actually be part of this body of knowledge, if I can call it that. Yeah, so I'll actually say start by joining these volunteer associations, student chapters, and that's how you can get involved in the industry and get more knowledge and experience from someone who's been in the industry for quite some time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I want to take it back a little bit to when you were a student.
Yeah.
And like your own path or trajectory to where you are.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about your journey? Obviously, you've seen how it shaped who you are today.
Yeah.
But just give us a little bit more like insight as to from then till now, what the journey has been for you.
Look, as a student, 2013, I went to Divert College.
Divert.
Wow. Yeah, so I did N4 to N6.
Yeah.
Thereafter, I went to UNISA.
He's right, it is recent.
Yeah, then I saw it, UNISA Yanyusa. Sorry for my language.
No.
Because you need to be disciplined and all that stuff, right? And then I did that for 6 months, and then my aunt called me and said, look, there's a course at Stellenbosch Business School. Don't you want to go do that? I was like, yeah, sure, let me give it a try, you know? And I went to Stellenbosch, and that's how I ended up in Western Cape. So I studied entrepreneurship and management, which is like a mini MBA in a way.
All right.
And we had like your professors like Andre Roux, who does economics. Whenever you check like your ENCAs, he's the guy. He was actually my lecturer.
Oh, cool.
And that's why I loved economics. And then the last 5 months is where you actually go into doing personal mastery, where you actually try and find what type of work
like
you want to do.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's actually where I actually met a gentleman called Bart Senecal.
Okay.
And I just job shadowed him for like 5 days, and that's how I fell in love with engineering.
Nice.
Then I went to CPUT, and I did the course for 4 or 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being a student, it was a long journey, but I was focused more on CPUT, right? When I was there, first year, look, I didn't mind doing my DJing on the side and everything because I had so much time.
Yeah.
And also with the SciC, you know, volunteering.
Yeah.
But things kind of changed when I became the chairperson there because I had to take more responsibilities. I even had an office, eh? The HOD gave me an office.
Yeah, you're official.
So people used to call me sir, but I'm a student.
That must have been a trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, with family, right? They always
Yeah.
want the best for you.
Sure.
Because I come from a family that's focused so much on academics and everything, right? And they're like, Tsebo, la study. And I'm there busy, you know, always pushing SciC. They're like, let's SciC and focus on your books and everything. But it's only not like now, let's say 5 years later, when they actually see the benefits of me being part of these organizations.
Yeah.
So my student journey is a bit different from a lot of people.
Yeah.
It wasn't your typical just being on campus.
Things just kind of fell into place for you.
Well, I had to
Or
have a
rather,
plan.
oh, sorry, yeah?
Yeah, I had to have a plan. Look, the journey was long.
I can imagine.
But it was worth it, to be honest.
Yeah.
You actually notice there's nothing wrong with a long journey. There's a lot of aspects that you learn
Yeah.
along the way.
And challenges, like noteworthy challenges you can mention?
The biggest challenge?
Yeah.
Let me think. I think it's finding time management, to be honest.
Time management.
Because I'm doing so much.
Yeah.
And that's where I had to learn how to like now prioritize certain things.
Yeah.
And say, okay, look, partying can wait. Let me
Yeah.
focus on this.
Yeah.
Let me focus on that because this is the opportunity cost, basically, if I can call it that, where you actually notice if I focus more time on this is what's going to grow more. And that's how the leadership stuff started to grow and be part of these organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, I don't sleep. I sleep about 4 hours a night.
Even till today?
So today, like,
Crazy.
you know, yesterday I was meant to play golf, but I played.
Yeah.
Today, now we're doing the podcast.
Yes,
Tomorrow,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow again, you know.
Yeah,
out
something
there
else.
again.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, we don't rest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about Leeto experience and how
Yeah.
this also aligns with your passion as an engineer.
Okay, so Leeto,
Yes, sir.
basically, Tony Pizzo, who's actually the founder of this,
Yeah.
he's actually in tourism.
All right.
So basically, just a high level one.
Yeah.
He'll tell you better, actually.
Yeah.
But the idea was that he saw that actually Hartis is a gem.
It is.
And there's so much you can actually do. And then when he found this spot here
Yeah.
in Eagle Waters,
Yes, sir.
he slowly just started to develop it and is trying to bring life to Hartis because there's your water features. So if you've got a boat, you can jump in. Like now you can see people are going for a ride.
Yeah.
So that's Tony's boats and Jeep as well.
Yeah.
And then,
And we're going on as well after here.
yeah, so that's the Leeto stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can actually chill with your family.
Yeah.
It's relaxing. You've got Pick and Wood here where there's golf. You've got your upside down house, cradle of, what's it called? Where the lines are?
Cradle of humankind.
Humankind. So you see, it's a lot of touristy stuff that you
Yes,
can
yes.
do.
There's things happen. It's a hub of activity around here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you call me, it's like, hey man, look, I need you to come and design me this, project. I was like, why not? And we actually came out here the same way we were walking. We took a walk along, sharing his ideas. We spoke about art earlier and how
how it lives in your mind.
exactly.
Yeah.
You also need to speak to the client,
Yes.
and he tells you how he feels. He wants to see the restaurant looking into the water.
Yeah.
He wants the boats to be coming in, and people should be seeing the boats docking.
Yeah.
And those are the type of things that you slowly start to design with him.
Sure.
Yes, you're gonna find them there because
creative
maybe we don't speak the
differences.
same lingo,
Yes.
but in the end, there's gonna be a product next year. Yeah.
Exciting times, man.
So yeah, look, it's exciting to engage with people, and then you use your creativity, and now you do the designing again, like I mentioned earlier, and then seeing the design coming to life.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, where we actually start taking a shovel and digging.
Bring it to life.
Exactly.
Brick and mortar.
Look, hey, once it's done, look, we're gonna have some drinks here,
Yeah.
looking into the
Look
ocean.
into the water.
Or even maybe probably even jump into the boat and take a young ride around there, you know.
Maybe do a follow-up Varam Co-op interview on the boat.
Why not? Next
You
time,
know,
second episode. eh?
Second episode, follow-up, just see how you are, how the whole idea,
Exactly.
brainchild is faring out.
Yeah.
Just tell me, I guess maybe final thoughts, final words. You mentioned a lot of like what South Africa is and the potential lies really in solving the smallest problems.
Yep.
To then have, how's it? Solving the smallest problems. He scared me.
Yeah,
Solving the
sorry,
smallest
sorry.
problems
Yeah.
that rather have a big impact. And by
Yeah.
that you mean like maintenance and
Yeah.
the ripple effect you have. There was a lot of like reference of ripple effect in what you said.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, where do you see the future of like civil engineering in the country, and what other problems, not to make you too much of a futurist, just in
Yeah.
your immediate space, what you're already seeing now in your day to day, what do you see in terms of the future of civil engineering
Look,
in the country?
in the country, I see it, like we spoke about it, being smarter. We're getting like young guys coming in with like lots of tech, making things easier to solve,
Yeah.
capturing data easier. I see that coming in. I see a lot of greenness in infrastructure, where like we're considering more now. It's not more just hard concrete. We add some like nature elements to it, where we add like some grass and this, you know. I'm seeing that for the future. And look, I think those two actually stand out for me, to be honest, for the
Green.
future. The rest is also going to be generic, where you see infrastructure growing and everything in smart cities and everything.
Yes.
But I see like the young guys coming in now, solving problems way better than us, because they're
Excitement.
using like some solid tech now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got to actually ask this question. Also factoring in
Yeah.
natural design. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Just want to factor in there, like we've seen what's happening in KZN of late, like the
Yeah.
floods and everything.
Yeah.
Also factoring in natural disasters.
Correct. So you can actually, talking about data, so such things you can predict now because using AI. So you can predict if there's going to be such a storm and all those things, and you can actually include that into your design.
Yeah.
And you can model how bad stuff can be if that happens.
Yeah.
Then you know, okay, if there's going to be a bridge being washed away, now you can design a bridge differently. If you know that this land over here is going to slide, now you know how to actually build your foundation so that it doesn't move. So those are the type of things that we are getting to now.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it a lot in mining, where these guys have got like some crazy technology because they've got so much money to spend to actually make sure that they go probably like 2 kilometers down.
Oh,
So
crazy.
actually using technology to
Yes.
know where the gold and diamond and all that type of stuff is. So similar to what mining is doing, where they're refining their waste,
Yeah.
I see us doing the same with our infrastructure as well. We're going back to like something where we are like now, Leeto. This place has been around for quite some time,
Yeah.
and it's now under Madibeng municipality. But it just took one person to say, look, I need to get like a civil engineer or architect or a team of professionals to actually make this place come to life.
Yeah.
And that's why I use the Leeto example, where you saw this, yes, it might not look the best in the beginning,
Yes.
but let's start doing something about it.
Yeah. It's all in the time.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can feel the rain coming.
Yeah.
So do you have any last words before we then go in?
Yeah, so last words.
Yeah.
Look, as I say SA,
Yeah.
our problems are not that bad.
Yeah.
I see us actually growing very well and doing very well.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of bright minds, and it's also up to us, the engineers, up and coming professional engineers or senior engineers, to actually start going back to like your primary schools, high schools, and inspiring like young guys to actually be part of this space, because we won't have any people to solve problems if we don't actually go there and inspire them.
Yeah.
Especially like the talks I normally would do is for schools, high school learners, to inspire them like before they write exams. And you're like, look, this is what I do. The Calatrava, I worked on this design, the World Cup Stadium in Qatar, and they get excited. They're like, wow,
Yeah.
that's actually what we want to do.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to go back, lift as you rise, where we go back and go back to small communities or community nearby you and try and inspire more young people to start thinking about solving problems and all those type of things. Look, SA has got a lot of potential, and that's why you can see them being shipped out a lot, brain drained. But if we can all come back with those skills that we learn overseas, nothing wrong with going overseas, studying there and working there. But once we can come back home all together and we collaborate Look, SA can overtake your Japans and China.
So, thank you for those words. I could have not said it any better. The man says, lift as you rise.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that sentiment.
Yeah.
Well, having said that, I think we can bring it to a halt, bring it to a close.
Yeah.
This is still Varamgop. This is still Each One Teach One. I'm still your boy, Tsebo from there. Tsebo Koena. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you
for your insights.
Yeah.
And I thank you for imparting all those words to our viewers, man.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate that, yeah?
Yeah, thanks for considering me as well.
Of course, man.
But once the interview is done, let's actually go jump on the boat. Why not?
I think this, man.
Before,
Yeah, I think let's. You heard it. Sign out, man. Peace.
Cheers.
Thank you, my G.
Thanks.
Varamgop.